Tonight on Saturday Night News, we have your full tropical update and all the footage that you can only find on Red Weatherman from when Laura passed through the state just over 24 hours ago. We also have a 2024 election matchup between Rand Paul and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sports has once again been raided by politics, and this time the Cardinals have joined in. And we have the best moments from the RNC convention coming right up. Laura is now post-tropical, and we have two disturbances on its heels, which represent Nana and Omar if they develop. Tropical storm Isel now has 45-mile-per-hour sustained winds, and will be moving generally north and eventually north-northwestward over the next few days and dissipating off the west coast of Baja California. And in the Central Pacific, we have one disturbance out there, moving well to the south of Hawaii, with a low chance of development. And as I promised you guys yesterday, we have some footage to go through. At 1 o'clock, we had one band come in and it dropped some heavy rain across portions of Jeff County. But of course, it didn't stop there. About 2:30, we had another band come through here. My heart goes out to the families of the 10 people who lost their lives in the United States as a direct result of Hurricane Laura. Ultimately, the storm has been responsible for $12 billion in damage. Of course, no amount of money can be placed in any comparison to the human loss caused by the storm. Today also marks the 15-year anniversary when Hurricane Katrina made landfall in southeastern Louisiana, and to this day, Hurricane Katrina still remains the costliest hurricane to ever strike the United States. Cardinals pitcher Jack Flaherty and Cardinals outfielder Dexter Fowler decided to go on strike to protest the shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Once again, sports has been infiltrated by politics. Hashtag Fire Tucker Carlson trended on Twitter yesterday after these comments made by Tucker on his show.
So we're really surprised that looting and arson accelerated to murder. How shocked are we that 17-year-olds with rifles decided they had to maintain order when no one else would? Everyone could see what was happening in Kenosha. It was getting crazier by the hour.
Sorry, did I miss something there? Because I didn't see anything or hear anything that I thought was controversial enough to where he needs to be fired. I think this is just another ridiculous load of bullshit by the Democrats. I don't expect the SJWs to get their way. I think that Fox News will stand up for freedom of speech, even if it is one of the last few times, as the network continues to shift further and further left. Fox News' anchors interrupted the RNC so many times that CNN actually had better coverage of it than they did, and many conservatives flocked to C-SPAN, OAN, etc. to watch the speeches. We're going to take a quick break here, about 2 minutes long. When we come back, we're going to have the 2024 election matchup between Rand Paul and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We're going to have all the highlights from the Republican National Convention and more bureaucratic bullshit. But one more thing before I go. If you want to piss off your local liberal, get you a t-shirt, coffee mug, or a phone case, or a tote bag, or any of my other merchandise. Link for my online store is in the description below. Welcome to the 2024 election matchup between Rand Paul and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Safe states for both parties have already been filled in, so here we go. Start off in the Northeast like we usually do. Maine at large. I think it'll be very, very close. And we'll put it in AOC's column. It's kind of a lean blue. It'll be very close, though. Rand Paul could win it, I guess, maybe if he works hard enough. Maine second will be safe. New Hampshire would go likely. Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Delaware will all be likely margins for AOC. Rand Paul, Pennsylvania will be closer than I think Trump will win it, but AOC's policies on coal will not fly with the unions down there. North Carolina, that's a tough one. And I'll just put it in the toss-up column for now. That'd be really a tough call for 2024. Georgia, I think he would win by a lean margin. I think he would win Florida likely, especially with AOC's socialist policies. They would not like that down there, the Cubans especially. Texas, he would win Texas safe. Libertarians also would not like AOC's policies. North Carolina, we're going to go ahead and just put in the tilt R column. Ohio would be safe. Iowa, we'll put in the lean margin. AOC has a lot of her base in those college towns up there in Iowa. And then Nebraska's second. We'll put in the lean column for the Republicans. He would win. Rand Paul would win Minnesota lean. Same thing over in Wisconsin. Michigan would be tilt R. AOC would win Colorado by a likely margin. Same thing down in New Mexico. And then Arizona would be won by AOC by a lean margin. We'll put in tilt with Rand Paul being on the ticket. And then Nevada, I think AOC could pull it off using the Las Vegas suburbs there, just barely. So that makes for a final total of 311 to 227. Rand Paul would win. The pandemic, or should I say Pandemic Inc., because it has now been turned into more of just an excuse to have stuff shut down, and similar to BLM, an excuse to have an uncivilized society. Masks are now required for students to attend school at Hillsborough High School. Jefferson County attempted to do the same county-wide mask mandate based on a 3-2 vote by the Hillsborough Health Department. 3 bureaucrats decided that it was okay to strip everyone's freedom. They retracted it a day later after protests erupted outside the health department. And I applaud those protesters for getting up and going out there and convincing them to rescind that tyrannical order. And more than anything, the hypocrisy between the masks and the abortion laws are very telling. 3 unelected officials say everybody has to wear a mask or you can be arrested or fined. Oh, that's fine. But when it comes to abortion, my body, my choice. Speaking of abortion, this was Abby Johnson at the RNC speaking about her experience as a former Planned Parenthood employee.
In August, my supervisor assigned me a new quota to meet, an abortion quota. I was expected to sell double the abortions performed the previous year. When I pushed back, underscoring Planned Parenthood's public-facing goal of decreasing abortions, I was reprimanded and told, "Abortion is how we make our money." But the tipping point came a month later when a physician asked me to assist with an ultrasound-guided abortion. Nothing prepared me for what I saw on the screen. An unborn baby fighting back, desperate to move away from the suction. And I'll never forget what the doctor said next. "Beam me up, Scotty." The last thing I saw was a spine twirling around in the mother's womb before succumbing to the force of the suction.
If that doesn't pull at your heartstrings like nothing else, I don't know what would. On abortion, I typically, like, my line is around that 3 or 4 month range. That way, like, most people at least know they're pregnant by then. But when you start to get up into that 6, 7, 8, 9.5 month range, many times the baby has already developed. I was actually born around 6 months or so. I was born about 3 months early, and I survived. I'm here making this YouTube video. To wrap up the episode, I want you to hear the most energetic speech of the RNC convention.
I speak to you tonight as a mother, a former prosecutor, a Latina, and a proud American. And yes, a proud supporter of President Donald J. Trump. Why? Because he is the president who delivers for America. He built the greatest economy the world has ever known for the strivers, the working class, and middle class. As commander-in-chief, he always puts America first. President Trump is the law and order president. Now, presidential leadership is not guaranteed. It is a choice. Biden, Harris, and the rest of the socialists will fundamentally change this nation. They want open borders, closed schools, dangerous amnesty, and will selfishly send your jobs back to China while they get rich. They will defund, dismantle, and destroy America's law enforcement. When you are in trouble and need police, don't count on the Democrats. As a first-generation American, I know how dangerous their socialist agenda is. My mother, Mercedes, was a special education teacher from Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. My father, also an immigrant, came to this nation in pursuit of the American dream. Now I consider it my duty to fight to protect that dream. Rioters must not be allowed to destroy our cities. Human sex drug traffickers should not be allowed to cross our border. The same socialist policies which destroyed places like Cuba and Venezuela must not take root in our cities and our schools. If you want to see the socialist Biden-Harris future for our country, just take a look at California. It is a place of immense wealth, immeasurable innovation, and immaculate environment. And the Democrats turned it into a land of discarded heroin needles in parks, riots in streets, and blackouts in homes. In President Trump's America, we light things up. We don't dim them down. We build things up. We don't burn them down. We kneel in prayer, and we stand for our flag. This election is a battle for the soul of America. Your choice is clear. Do you support the cancel culture, the cosmopolitan elites of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Joe Biden, who blame America first? Do you think America is to blame? Or do you believe in American greatness? Believe in yourself, in President Trump, in individual and personal responsibility. They want to destroy this country and everything that we have fought for and hold dear. They want to steal your liberty, your freedom. They want to control what you see and think and believe so that they can control how you live. They want to enslave you to the weak, dependent, liberal, victim ideology to the point that you will not recognize this country or yourself. From the beginning, when President Trump spoke about making America great again, he was speaking about that shining city on a hill and restoring the beacon of light that once shined so bright. His promise was to put America first, and he has. When President Trump cut middle-class taxes, putting tens of thousands of dollars back in the pockets of working-class Americans, that beacon began to flicker once again. When President Trump commanded the defeat of ISIS, took out al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, and paved the way for peace in the Middle East, that beacon started to glow. When he negotiated historic trade deals with Canada, Mexico, Japan, and China, bringing back thousands of manufacturing jobs to America, that beacon shined bright once again for the world to see. America, it's all on the line. President Trump believes in you. He emancipates and lifts you up to live your American dream. You are capable, you are qualified, you are powerful, and you have the ability to choose your life and determine your destiny. Don't let the Democrats take you for granted. Don't let them step on you. Don't let them destroy your families, your lives, and your future. Don't let them kill future generations because they told you and brainwashed you and fed you lies that you weren't good enough. Like my parents, you can achieve your American dream. You can be that shining example to the world. Manifest and be the change in this country that you dream, that you hope, that you believe in. Stand for an American president who is fearless, who believes in you, and who loves this country and will fight for her. President Trump is the leader who will rebuild the promise of America and ensure that every citizen can realize their American dream. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom